Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Gavinsky's Tutorials. Today I'm looking at Baby Audio BA-1 and I've been surprisingly impressed by this actually. I really like some of the sounds that come out and I love just how intuitive the interface is. Yes, but well, let me first just cover what I'm going to go through in this video. So first, I'll talk a little bit more about the interface, and as we go through the video, we'll listen to presets. We'll look all over the controls of the interface, and also as I go along, I'll talk about some aspects that I like and don't like, and then probably at the end, I'll just quickly recap on those things as well. So first thing I want to mention too is that this got released very quickly. Now, in the past, Baby Audio have usually let me do code giveaways for iOS for subscribers to the channel. Because this got released so quickly, and I guess that they're sleeping at the time that I'm making this video, I haven't had a chance to check with them whether they'll be up for a giveaway for this video, but I think they probably will, and probably, hopefully, you'll be able to choose which Baby Audio app for iOS you win, and there will likely be at least 3 codes to give away, but I can't promise at the time of making this. So anyway, I'll update the pinned comment with those details when I get them. In the meantime, if you're watching, you can just assume that if there is a giveaway, you'll be eligible for it as long as you're subscribed to the channel, like the video, and write a comment, any comment. And there'll also be giveaways probably on Twitter and Insta. And also my video from yesterday on Magic Fusion by GSDSP is still open at the time of making this video. So you might want to go and check that out. Okay, so let's go through here. First of all, couple of comments about the interface. You can change your color here. Pretty nice. Now, of course, not everybody's going to like these colors. I find that it's very hard to please people when it comes to colors, and a lot of people ask for custom colors. But I think these are pretty nice, I must say. I'll stick with the gray one. Now, my biggest gripe, which I'm going to get out of the way straight away, is that, okay, although this is a brilliantly designed interface in terms of functionality and how much you can do with so little and how intuitive the setup is and all the controls are, like this is a brilliant beginner's synth, I think. What I really don't like is that, honestly, at smaller sizes, it's just, at least for older eyes, and let's face it, actually, most people, this may be a surprising fact to some, but most people who are making music on iOS are, in their 40s, 50s, 60s, actually. At least at present. That's probably going to change with Logic being on iOS now. But, seriously, there are a few things here. Like here, I mean, I can't really read that without straining. So, yeah, could really do better in terms of the text size. And that goes for all Baby Audio apps, really. So that's my main gripe. But it is really, really a nicely laid out interface. So let's go over the interface very quickly. So we have here our preset menu and organized by type of sounds, okay, pads, leads, plucks, and so on. Then some artist packs, including here, look, Venus Theory, nice. Now, what it doesn't have is any preset batch import or export, which is super annoying. And I did mention this to Baby Audio, and they acknowledged it, but didn't say whether they were going to add that or not, from what I remember. But it has to be said that for iOS, every single app needs to have batch import and export because the file system on iOS is so hobbled. Um, you know, your patches that you make here, your user patches and whatever, are not going to be accessible. I mean, they can be actually, but most developers don't design their apps like that. Um, there's not just a folder where you can go in and, like, say you buy a patch from someone on, or I'm sorry, a preset pack from someone on Gumroad, you can just add add it into your user folder, and you can, make your own categories and stuff in there. It doesn't have that. So here, basically, if you want to save something, um, you just save it in, and then you've got this user folder, excuse me, and that's all you've got. There are no subfolders or anything like that. So no subfolders, no batch import, no batch export. That is not cool. So I hope that gets added. Now here, very easy to miss. This is where you can enable velocity sensitivity or not, i.e. With it off, it's just always going to be at max velocity. So I'm really glad that it has that. I don't know if the original Casio CS01 that this was based on doesn't, but thank God this does, because nothing annoys me more than a synth that doesn't give you that option. Like, just because it was there in the old hardware, it doesn't mean that we might want it in a digital version. Now, worth mentioning the price, by the way. So this is $20 on iOS. For a desktop port of a synth from a company with several employees, I don't know how many, that's a very reasonable price to me. So that's the intro price, and it's going to go up to 25. Totally fine. I do think it's overpriced on desktop. It's $100. I think that is very overpriced for a simple synth like this. I don't know whether you agree or not. You can leave your opinion in the comments. So here, this is our mono and poly setting. So again, really nice to have that here. And then here, just one press and we get put back to the init. And that's also really nice because both of these are usually things that involve a bit of menu diving. And in fact, you'll notice also that there's not even any settings window here. So it's really, what you see is what you get. And I do think that although it means that this is not the deepest synth, it's just really, really enjoyable, and you can just get results extremely quickly. So that is great. That is great. Also, like in here, that if you notice that your user presets turn up first, which I think is the way it should be, but so many synths put them at the end. Yeah. Nice. Okay, so let's look at some other things. So here we can control the glissando speed. So there we're getting slow ones and now fast. And here we just turn it off. Now it has two oscillators. And as you can see here, there's no sine wave. So we have triangle, sawtooth, square, pulse. And then we can, if we go down here, we can have pulse width modulation, where this is controlling the spread. And so over here we have a kind of pseudo FM. It's not a real FM, it's just something that makes it sound like it's using FM synthesis. So here's our crossfade between oscillator 1 and 2. And then again for oscillator 2. We have our waveforms, but here, instead of the pulse width, we've got a noise option at the bottom. Okay, here we can set by octaves. Now, it's not going to make any difference for noise. I mean, it's just got a lovely sound to it. This CS01 was regarded as a bit of a toy when it came out, but later became a bit of a classic. And I actually really, really love the sounds of these old 80s synths. Very synthetic, but very pleasing. And I mean, of course, this is massively back in vogue at the moment with all that Stranger Things stuff. Stranger's Thing, that sounds a bit naughty. So here, this is like a fine pitch setting. Or it can do semitones. Which can be very pleasing to play around with. So let's listen to the quality of the filter, very important. Sounds nice. So we got an envelope for the filter as well. And we can set key tracking on or off. So the filter will be more bright with higher notes. Got an envelope where we can turn sync on and off. And just the usual, yeah, ADSR. Now, the LFO, personally, I think is a bit disappointing because it only has two targets, oscillator 1 and the filter. I suppose it fits in with the ethos of wanting, to put as much as possible in just a one screen interface with no tabs. But I definitely think it would be desirable to have more than two targets. Only oscillator 1 and filter, that's very limiting. Of course, you can, as you always can, use external modulation, but it's going to limit how interesting preset designers' sound packs could be with so few options for an LFO target. Now, so here we have a side chain, well, a pseudo side chain, really, because all this does is just it just lowers the volume for every beat, depending on the speed you've got set in the DAW, so where your kick would normally be. But, if you're actually using a kick that isn't just doing 4/4, then it's not really going to work that well. And you have a choice for whether the sidechain is applied pre or post FX. So you can see that pre is going to be a bit more subtle, because even though it's sidechaining, it's still going to let the delay run through and stuff like that. So, yeah, a little bit limited, but glad it's there. Glad it's there. Maybe not the best one to try it on, but we've got a tone section here where we can control the darkness and brightness. And then we have drive. Either just based on the kind of overdrive that was common in 80s synths, or a more circuit bending type thing. Okay, a delay. Let's get a pluck. Just turn the velocity off for a minute. So we can have our sync on and off, and we can see the lengths here. And it has dotteds and triplets, so that's great. No ping pong or anything like that, though it is an extremely basic delay. No feedback. Yeah, extremely basic delay. Yeah, the reverb cannot get very long, but I would imagine most people have plenty of other reverb options, so that's not something that would bother me too much. Chorus on and off. Yeah. Let's just take those down a second. So nice sounding chorus, but again, extremely limited compared to a dedicated chorus. Beautiful preset. Now this is pretty cool. This emulates the way that the CS01's battery, I mean, it had power source as well, but if you were using it on battery, it would start to behave unpredictably when the battery got low. This one might not be the best one to try this on. Let me get something a bit more straightforward. You can hear there the noise that adds. So it's basically adding noise and pitch instability, something like wow and flutter. So it's the kind of thing that you could probably do yourself pretty easily with external effects. Now, the last thing, this regen, so that is a randomizer. And it's absolutely brilliant. So many synths or apps in general have very bad quality randomizers. I really like police apps, for example, but I find their randomizers often produce really unusable results. Or for example, ID700, yeah, great synth, but almost completely unusable what comes out of the randomizer. But here, every time I've tried this, I've always got something great. But of course, that is also not surprising because of the simplicity of the synth. You see, with something like ID700, why the randomizer doesn't work well is because the synth itself is so complex, and obviously it's just a pure randomizer. It hasn't been tweaked in any way that's going to make musical results more predictable. But I don't know with this one, have they actually, gone in there and done something that's going to trained it basically to make always usable results, or just set the algorithm up, really. I shouldn't say trained, it makes it sound like AI. Just set the algorithm up in such a way that it's always going to be musical, or whether it's just because the synth is so simple that it's hard to have something that's not musical. Anyway, either way, the synth is a randomizer's paradise. I mean, every single one of those has sounded brilliant. Brilliant. So let me do my recap. Really like this synth. Brilliant sounds, really easy to dial things in. The interface has been very well thought through. The little battery feature, although maybe a bit gimmicky, does actually sound really nice. The randomiser is absolutely fantastic. Oh, I forgot here, we also have this little thing where you can turn on the speaker. Like the original instrument, okay, had its own built-in speaker, which obviously would have had quite a tinny sound, and you can hear there. That's cutting out a lot of the low end. Might be really useful at times, depending on the sound you're going for. Let me see. There's a bug here, by the way. When you set sidechain to pre, it displays there as post, and vice versa. See, now it's on post, but it says pre up there. Okay, so what are my other criticisms? As I mentioned, no batch import and export. That is not acceptable. Need that for iOS. No user preset subfolders. Again, that is not ideal at all. And it should be such a simple thing to implement. I just don't understand why so many devs don't do that. Love the fact that it has the velocity sensitivity button here, monophonic and polyphonic button, and this little thing to just return it to the initialized state. That's a really nice feature, something that I would really like to see all synths having right there on the interface with just one click away, rather than having to do any menu diving. Bit disappointed that the LFO only has 2 targets. That could be a lot better. Bit disappointed by just how simple the onboard FX are. I mean, they're really extremely simple. Not really a problem for someone who has a lot of their own FX, which I'm sure most of us have our own distortion, delays, reverbs, and choruses, and so on, that are going to be better in almost any of those built in to any synths that we have. So most of us would end up using them. But honestly, the FX here are really bare bones. So again, not ideal really for people using this to design complex presets. But as we heard from the factory presets, there's a lot of diversity in what this synth can come up with. And if you like those kind of retro tones, I think this is a really nice choice. As I said, I don't like how small the text is, and even just the contrast here with the text. It's hard to read some of these things, especially for older eyes, as I said, when it's reduced to a small size. So yeah, you're always basically going to have to use it at its full size. And then, of course, like many ports from desktop, even at full size, it opens up here with quite a lot of wasted space around the edges. Let's just see how it resizes. See, I mean, you know, let's just quickly compare that to, say, something like Alteza by FAC. Okay, this is the sort of thing that we're used to from the best iOS developers. Amazing resizing like this. So this is just always the problem with these desktop ports. They very, very often do not allow good resizing. I don't know if this is going to be available for phone, but wow, it's going to be hard to read if it is. So yeah, this is not just a criticism of Baby Audio, it's a criticism of many desktop devs. Basically, desktop devs are now, I think, more than ever going to be porting to iOS. So they need to think about that at the time of development when they're making their interface for desktop. They need to think how well it's going to translate to iOS. Or like Beat Scholar, like Modalix, the devs of Beat Scholar, did when they brought it to iOS, they just made a completely fresh iOS app from scratch. And I suspect iOS becoming probably much more popular now that we've got Logic Pro available. I think desktop devs need to step up their iOS game and make interfaces that will work uh, not just visually, but also functionally, i.e. having things like batch import and export, which is needed because the Files app is so crappy. Yeah, this is what I really want to see. But overall, let's face it, I mean, the main thing is how does it sound? And this sounds great. It's the simplicity of the FX, well, that's just a sacrifice that I guess has to be made if you want to make a synth that works with just one screen, no tabs, very user friendly. So yeah, there's always going to be trade-offs. Again, simplicity of the effects is not that big a deal for most of us. We have tons of great effects of our own, whether just in a DAW like Logic or whatever, or just all the separate audio units or AUV3s that you've bought over the years. All right, everyone. So thanks for watching to the end. Do please give this a thumbs up if you haven't. Write a comment, etc., etc. It helps the video do better with the algorithm. And maybe let me know your thoughts on this, and in general, your thoughts on the recent spate of desktop ports to iOS. Okay, take it easy, and I'll see you in the next video.